All right, welcome. The following advice is really going to apply to you, my friend. If you're kind of in the same situation as me, where you might live at home, you might live with your parents, you might have strong relations to your parents where you see them most of the time or something like that, because that's the only level that I can relate in at the moment, being 21. This advice is from the book Warrior, Magician, Lover, King by Rod Boothroyd. And it is a fantastic book. It is one of my favorite books. And the advice is get your balls back from anyone who has them. And then what does this mean? Get your balls back from anyone who has them. Well, if you don't have balls, then you're not really kind of making the right decisions. You might be lying. You might be avoiding the hard things, right? And assuming that someone has your balls means you feel powerless in the sense that you might be living, and this is how I relate to it, you might be living under someone else's wing where they have more power and more power and authority over you. Not in an evil way. Don't get me wrong, not in an evil way. In the sense that they make majority of the decisions, they make the big decisions, and they kind of decide how your lifestyle is going to be. In the sense that, and this is how I related to it from the book, and this is how I think you might relate to it, is okay, so you're living with your parents, okay? And there's a certain type of lifestyle or certain type of things you want to do, right? Maybe, let's just say you want to build a garden in the backyard. Okay, well, first you have to ask permission. So already, you being, let's say, even as late as 21, I'm 21, right? And I live with my parents. You, even let's say 25, and if you still live with your parents, then you're going to feel some sort of resentment within you, subconscious or consciously, doesn't matter. But you're going to feel some sort of resentment in the sense that, I'm 25 and I can't make decisions for myself. Do you get what I mean? Like, do you really relate to this? Another thing you might do, again, subconsciously or consciously, if you're aware of it, is maybe trying to put on an act of pleasing everyone while you're at home. Again, this leads to powerlessness. You feel like you're living two separate lives, right? The life that you live outside of the home, you might feel is more true to yourself, where at home, right, living under someone who, quote unquote, has your balls, okay? Not in an evil way, again, not in a bad way. But in that sense, you might feel like you put on a pleasing act, a different mask where you constantly try to please your father or your mother, right? And the book does a really good explanation of this. One reason why we feel like when we're in the presence of the feminine, of females, and we tend to act in a nice guy way where we tend to please them and do favors for them is because we often have that same relationship with our mother, where we have a tendency to please our mother, to not hurt her feelings, not question our mother. And that plays into our role with interacting with the feminine outside of our mother. Similarly to our dad, if we had a need to please and to suck up and to, make our father proud as a kids, then we have that same kind of intention, that energy when we, mingle with other masculine people in the world. When we talk to people, we don't stand up for our beliefs. We don't, actively question people about their beliefs. We don't stand up for ourselves in general as well. And it's very important to take, awareness of that. Okay. Again, so get your balls back from anyone who has them. This essentially means if you're feeling powerless in the situation that you're in, oh my God, I'm getting 50 messages. If you're feeling powerless in the situation that you're in, again, the way I relate to it is, okay, I'm living at home. I can't make decisions for myself where I have total control. I don't have full sovereignty over my whole life, the entire decisions that I make. My decisions, the things that I want to do, have to adapt to the way, the system of this household, right? I live with my father. I have three other brothers. There's things happening, all these kind of things. I can't just dig up the front yard and build a garden there. Okay, how do you solve this? Well, can you move out? Is it possible? Is maybe that might be your purpose right now, right? Maybe that's a new purpose. Okay, you've been purposeless for a while. Maybe this is your current purpose layer to lead to something bigger, right? You feel powerless. in moving out, you gain full sovereignty over your life and the decisions that you make. Right? You create a whole new system for your home. You essentially start building a kingdom for yourself. Right now, you're living with your parents. Your dad is the king, your mother is the queen, right? You may be the prince, the heir, the next in line, but they're still the king and the queen. You're living in someone else's kingdom. When is it time for you to set up your own kingdom? That's a very good question. And I think it's not based on age. I think it's when you're ready. When you start having these signs of powerlessness and like you're ready to start making decisions for yourself and create your own life, when you start having these feelings, conscious or subconsciously, I think that's a sign of your body, your masculine energy telling you, okay, mate, it's time for you to move out of the comfort of your parents and time to stretch your wings and try your best at building your own kingdom. Okay? So again, maybe that's your purpose for the next year or two, right? Make enough money, build a system, move out, and start building your kingdom, your empire, right? Your surroundings. Start making friends, put those friends through filters. But essentially, get your balls back from anyone who has them. And the way to do that might be to move out and start living in isolation, not really, but start living away from your parents, away from that comfort.